What's up, everybody? Paco here, and marriage is awesome. It's also really hard and really confusing at times, but today we're sitting down with Chuck Moore. Chuck has been married for 42 years. He's a marriage coach, and he's gonna give us some expert advice on how to do marriage and do it well. Any relationship, especially in a marriage, one person might get disappointed, is probably gonna get disappointed in the other person, right? And you or your spouse at some point, right? And that's a normal part of being in a relationship. But what about like the big hurts, like the betrayal or the baggage that you or your spouse might be bringing into the relationship from previous relationships? How does someone heal, and how does someone kind of get over those and move forward in a marriage?
So my wife and I have had several experiences of this, primarily my cause. And we were once teaching about 100 people about marriage. And I said in front of them in a moment of inspiration as an extrovert, we could have walked away from our marriage 4 times. My wife, who's standing next to me, leaned in the microphone and said, 8. So I was like, we'll go with 8. We'll go with the 8. I won't argue with her in front of 100 people. And at the core of that 8 deals with betrayals, deals with deep, deep disappointments, things that went horribly awry. So I think we've lived our own version of the truth about this, which is marriages can survive, you can have hope. And those betrayals and those deep moments of pain can actually shake the two of you up so much that you end up in a more intimate, more alive, better relationship. So my wife and I would agree that we wouldn't want any of these, any of the 8. We'll go with the 8. Any of the 8.
6, 8.
But all of them drove us more deeply to each other, more deeply into our faith, and more deeply into an understanding that God and our relationship is bigger than even any of these painful places. So forgiveness is tough, forgiveness is real. There is a real process of forgiveness. And I mean, at the heart of it is listening to each other and understanding why this happened, where it came from. So I had to when I was bringing the pain, which almost uniquely I was, when I was bringing the pain, it was important for me to allow my wife to express herself, to grieve fully what was lost, the parts of the relationship that she had thought about that were lost. But what she was great at, because she's a very strong person, is for us to have the discussion about why, where did it come from, what's the background, where are we, and how do we go forward with it. So it's possible. There is hope in it. Forgiveness is actually the most mature, most difficult, the most challenging, and the most powerful part of love. It's at the heart of love. If you're a Christ follower, you believe in the Bible, we have a demonstration that in the midst of knowing who we were, Christ still said, I forgive them. And then we're called to walk like Christ. But there are some painful betrayals, there are some situations that can require years to recover from. But you still can and become even closer together and even more united. So I'd say the benefit of the lives that we've led at this point is my wife and I really are, we've healed each other of so many of our wounds. We've participated in that healing. We've encouraged one another. And I think we're at a place where this marriage is standing strong no matter what. And it's a proven no matter what. And that's incredibly precious to both of us.
And that's to be celebrated, man. That is to be celebrated. So what I hear you saying is this. I hear you saying that if I'm the person who needs to be forgiven, I need to give my spouse room and time to process and do all those things. Now, what if I'm the person who needs to do the forgiving? What should I be doing?
Right. So I would say being willing and open about your grief and even articulating what your loss is. But also listening and try to understand as much as possible what's the whole background, what are the issues, why did this happen, and helping to process why. You may need to get others involved, whether they're friends or therapists or whatever. And I think being willing together to say, all right, what do we want? What new relation? We don't want to recover the old relationship. We want to move forward and figure out what's the new relationship and what does that new relationship look like? Are there some new boundaries, but are there some new positive things that we need to do? Sometimes very difficult things happen in a marriage because you stopped. You stopped providing romance, you stopped dating, you stopped investing in one another. So what new relationship elements are you going to devote yourself to? And being willing, and in most cases, I would say the forgiveness happened because we went to God and let God do the final part of the forgiveness. So this is a place where God is willing to be practically involved in our lives, where you just literally go and say, I want to forgive, I want to be a forgiver, God help me be a forgiver. And as we do that, God will do that. Forgiveness is a lifestyle. Forgiveness is something we get to do our whole lives. And I almost believe that this is one of the reasons why we were given marriage as a gift, because in order to be married in the long term, we are going to be better and better, more skilled at forgiving again and again.
Great. And it's a choice we have to make.
It is a choice we make, and it is a process we go through. And although it can take years, I can say that our 4 kids and my wife and I are very glad we never walked away from this marriage.
42 years in.
42 years in.
Going strong.
The last year of my life was maybe the best year of my life, the healthiest year of my life, and my marriage is at the heart of that.